Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily. If you are new, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Today we are going to be doing an eyeshadow tutorial, and today's tutorial is going to be really focused on my favorite eyeshadow technique. So this is a technique you can do with any eyeshadow palette, any color combination. It is my favorite way to do my eyeshadow. So I will put up here a couple of pictures of different combinations that I have done using this technique. As you can see, it's a lot of different colors. Today I'll be doing kind of a bronzy neutral brown look, just to show you how easy it can be, but I use this same technique with blues and greens and pinks and purples and any combination of colors that you can imagine. So this is pretty much a foolproof eyeshadow technique. You only need 2 eyeshadow brushes, and honestly for one of them you could use your finger. So you need 2 eyeshadow brushes, 3 eyeshadow shades, and you have the easiest look ever in store for you. So we can go ahead and get into the tutorial.
Honey?
Okay, so for this look, you need to pick any eyeshadow palette you want. I'm gonna use the Nude Mood palette from ColourPop. This is just a great neutral browns eyeshadow palette. It's got a nice wide variety, but not too many shades, but you can seriously do it with any palette you want. So pick an eyeshadow palette, and then you're gonna need 2 or 3 different brushes. So I'm gonna show you the 3 that I will use. So I have this e.l.f. eyeshadow, it's called the eyeshadow brush. It's a flat kind of shader brush, and this is really good for packing. So just anything that's this shape. I like the e.l.f. one, it's like $1 or $2. You're also going to need a fluffier blending brush for the crease. This is also from e.l.f. It's from their slightly more expensive line. It's like $3 or $4. And this is called the crease brush or the blending brush or something. I can't exactly remember, but any brush in this shape will work. Nice and fluffy, not too dense. So if you only have those 2 brushes, that works perfectly fine. For a long time, those were the only 2 brushes that I had, literally just those 2. I'm also going to use a third one, so if you have a little bit of a bigger brush collection, you could also find a brush that's still kind of fluffy but a little denser and more tapered. This is really good for working in the outer corner of the eye. So those are the brushes that you're going to need for this look. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is pick our colors. We're gonna use 3 colors for this look. It could be any 3 colors that you want. Like I showed you in the intro, I've done this with all kinds of colors from blue to orange to the neutral browns we're gonna be working with today. So I'm gonna be using this shade Bare to Wear in my crease, which is, you know, this part of your eye socket right here. If you're working with neutrals, for this kind of shade, you're probably gonna wanna pick something that's a bit darker than your skin tone. So a lot of people will see a shade like this and just refer to it as a transition shade, and a transition shade is usually whatever you put in the crease. But this would not be a transition shade for somebody who's got dark skin, right? It's a good transition shade for me. So I'm gonna pick that color, and then you're gonna wanna pick a darker shade for your outer corner. And so for that, I'm gonna go with this shade here, Moody, but it can be, if you're doing an all blue look, it can be a navy blue and a light blue, right? And then the last thing you're gonna wanna pick is a shimmer shadow to go on most of your lids. So that would be kind of the focal point of your look. So I'm gonna pick this shade here in the middle, which is called Put On Airs. So I'm gonna be using these 3 shades, but like I said, and like I've said a million times, you can use any 3 shades that you want that'll help you create the look you're going for. All right, so I'm a little closer to the camera now. We're gonna take this, I can't even aim, this shade right here, Bare to Wear, and put it on our fluffy blending brush. Just tap it in there. If you're working with a brighter color, you're going to wanna take a little bit less on the brush and just slowly build it up. But if you've got a shade like this where it's just a few shades darker than your skin tone, you can kind of go ham with it and just fluff it on there. So I use kind of like a combination of these windshield wiper motions and little circular motions and just buff it all through the crease. Your crease is basically where your eye socket is. So the crease is gonna be kind of a different location and a different height on everybody, but it's like the most natural place to be able to feel on your eye. So this crease shade kind of provides the backdrop for our eyeshadow look. Okay, so I've got that one color blended all through the crease on both my eyes. Now you can either use this same brush, just wipe it off a little bit. I always keep a towel nearby just to clean my brushes off. I wash them to really clean them, but if I just need to change colors, I'll just wipe them on a little washcloth. But if you are using our 3-brush system, take your tapered blending brush here, and you're gonna wanna dip that into your darkest color. So I'm using this dark brown shade here, Moody. And with your dark colors, you want to be careful because it's a lot easier to build up shadows than it is to take them off. So you're going to want to get a little bit on your brush and then just kind of tap it into the outer corner of your eye. And once you've got some on there, you can kind of blend it in. I like to do small circles like this, and everybody's eye shape is different. So you're going to have to practice a little bit of trial and error just to see what works best for you. But I just blend it into the outer corner, kind of bringing it into that whole outer third and up into the crease on the edge. So like I said, it's easier to build up than take away, so I just dip back into the palette to grab a little bit more shadow and blend a little more in there to deepen up that outer corner. You also want to make sure that you hold your brush kind of farther down the handle, because that gives you a little bit more control and precision, and you're not pushing so hard on your eye, right? It's not a pencil, it's an eyeshadow brush. You just want to keep blending until you are satisfied with how it is blended together. With neutral brown shades like this, it's a lot easier and it goes a lot faster than if you're working with, say, like a bright turquoise blue. But either way, you want to be patient and just blend until it looks good, or at least until it looks satisfactory. Then I usually take just whatever is left on the brush after blending and sweep it through the crease just to create an even more blended look. All right, so we are almost done. Now you want to take that flat shader eyeshadow brush, I'm using my trusty old e.l.f. one, and you want to go ahead and dip into the shimmer shade you're using. So like I said, I'm using this one here, Put On Airs. It's kind of a bronzy shimmer. You just want to pat onto there. So if you're using a flat brush like this, you don't want to rub, you just want to gently pat to pick up some shadow. And then you are just going to see this blank part all on my eyelid. You're just going to pat this from the inner corner all the way out to where you've blended that darker color. And depending on the consistency of the shimmer shadow you're using, you might be able to kind of sweep it in there a little bit, or if it's a little bit coarser, then you might just have to pat the whole time. But that is just through trial and error of the consistencies of your different shadows. These ColourPop ones are pretty smooth, so it's pretty easy to kind of wipe it on there, but I have other ones that you really have to just pack. And again, that's something that depends on the shade of the shadow as well. If I'm using, you know, like a bright green shimmer shadow, then it's more likely I'll have to pack on, but browns tend to be a little more forgiving. So you might end up with something that's called fallout, which is when the shimmer or the shadow just kind of falls off of where you're supposed to put it and ends up here. That's why I usually like to do my eyes first and the base last. A lot of people will do their foundation first, but I find that I end up with fallout even from shadows that it doesn't always happen with, even from less powdery shadows, even from non-glittery shadows. I get eyeshadow all over my face. So again, helpful reason to have a little washcloth. I just kind of wipe it off, and then it'll be easier to apply my foundation later. So I've got my 3 colors applied, and I think it looks pretty good. If you are not exactly happy with if there's like a harsh line between the shimmer shade and your darker shade, you could go back and add a little bit of darker shade. You could take a clean brush and just kind of blend together. It's really up to you to figure out, you know, how you want it to blend and what kind of look you're going for, but I'm pretty happy with the way mine turned out. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I will be back to show you the finished look. Okay, I know I said I was gonna come back when my whole face was done, but I did want to show you how I do my lower lash line. That is an optional part of the look. A lot of people don't like to put any eyeshadow on their lower lash line, but some people always put shadow on their lower lash line. I go back and forth, it depends on the look for me, but it's totally up to you, and I feel like a lot of it depends on your eye shape and what you prefer for that. So for this optional part, I'm going to be using the same two colors, Bare to Wear, that transition shade, and then Moody, the darker shade. And I'm going to go ahead and use, I just have another one of those e.l.f. eyeshadow brushes. It's the same brush, but it just is a different one, it's the same type of brush, it's just a different one so that I don't have to, clean it as often. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into Bare to Wear and just bring that over my whole lower lash line. Need a mirror. Then with the same brush, I'm going to dip into Moody just a little bit, and I'm going to use that on kind of the outer third of my lower lash line. Then I'm just going to kind of clean off my brush, just take the extra shadow off, and just kind of blend it out. And then I'm going to take this brush, also from e.l.f., it's a pencil brush, and the shade Wink Wink right here, and just put a little bit of that on my inner corner. Ooh, I think this is a super shock shadow. I didn't realize that. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of concentrate that on my inner corner here, just to highlight that. You can also put some under your brow, but I usually just use a plain, I've got a single shadow in kind of a matte that's the same color as my skin. All right, so my eyes are officially done with eyeshadow, so now I will actually be back when my whole face is done. All right, so here is the finished look. I will have everything else I used on my face linked down below. It's pretty much the same stuff I always use. For my blush, I used my e.l.f. blush palette. For the highlighter, I used my e.l.f. baked highlighter. And on my lips is the ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Vitamin C. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is truly my favorite eyeshadow technique to use. I use it all the time with all kinds of color combinations, and it really makes it so that I can think about playing with color instead of thinking about how to do my eyeshadow, if that makes sense. So I hope you tried this technique. Let me know if you post a picture on Instagram or on your story of you using this technique, wearing an eyeshadow look like this, please tag me in it. My Instagram handle is @HONEYBEEJOYOUS, and I would really love to see your eyeshadow looks. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I do beauty every Saturday and books every Tuesday, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. All right, thank you guys so much. Bye.